before we begin our, which implies a relationship, exploration. Exploration or explore is an incredibly powerful word. Listen, for every exploration, there must be a leader. And for every leader, there must be a
power.
Exactly. So
that's really good.
Through the power of suggestion and through the power of implication, in their subconscious mind, they are stepping into the role because people always want to find a frame or a role to operate from. It's very uncomfortable to not know what relationship you're in, power-wise, with somebody else.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Contractor Radio. I am your host, Jim Johnson, the Contractor Coach. And I'm also the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro, where we help contractors become better leaders, build the processes they need to grow and scale their business, and help them find that personal and financial freedom that they were chasing whenever they started their business. The whole idea is to be somebody that creates a vehicle that works for you instead of you working for it. If you want to find out more about what we do, head on over to our website at contractorcoachpro.com, click the assessment button, take the assessment on your contracting business, and we'll do a free coaching call with you. It's not a sales pitch. It's an actual coaching call based off of your assessment. We'll help identify the 2 or 3 things you should do next in your business. And if you like what we do and you want to be one of our clients, that would be great. If not, at least we've served you well that day and helped you along your way, and hopefully helped you achieve that success you're looking for. Today's episode is going to be absolute fire. I have a gentleman on today that is in that lane of things where he's going to be a bit contrarian when it comes to what we think about with sales. He's a neurolinguistic master. He is a master hypnotist. He is a practitioner of all things sales. And I'm super excited to bring this guy on because I got to talk with him a few minutes before the show. And I'm already like heart rate up. Let's go, man, because he is bringing some fire to our conversation today. So you're going to want to listen to this whole entire show. He has guaranteed me that this is going to be one of the best shows, if not the best show that we've ever done. Welcome to our show today, Paul Ross. Paul, how are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I love most with my clothes on, which is to teach.
That's a great start to our show. Great start. Sounds like a perfect fit for our show. So Paul, tell us a little bit of the story. Like, you're now this pretty renowned guy that goes around and speaks, teaches, writes about these approaches in sales, and the master of language, really, like understanding what that looks like. What all created that to where you are today?
You don't know this because I like to spring it upon my guests, but I used to be a coach. I used to coach pickup and seduction. I was a pickup and seduction coach. And you're like, what?
Wasn't there a movie about that? There was a movie.
Magnolia, starring Tom Cruise. And there he is over my shoulder. Tom played a character that I created. He created a character based on me. And so I never met him, never saw any money. I like to spring it on the host. So I coached men on how to meet women, how to be more attractive using their language, how to create language conversations that were actually intriguing and emotionally evocative. And after about 15, 20 years of doing this, I started to get emails saying, hey, here's pictures of my wife, pictures of my kids. Thank you so much. And by the way, I'm using your stuff and I've tripled my sales. Or I'm using my stuff and I'm the #1 person in the corporation with 500 people. Thank you very much. I thought, holy shit. Can I curse on your show?
Oh, yeah.
I thought, holy shit. Let's look into this. So I went back into my mad scientist language lab. It took me like 2 years to map over the same principles. And now I've been teaching this teaching and speaking on it for about 15 years. And I love it. I'm in love with language. I have an ulterior motive today.
What's that?
My ulterior motive, and whenever I speak, whenever I teach, whenever I coach, whenever I train, yes, absolutely, I want to get my clients fantastic results. And my motive is I want my clients and students to fall in love with the same thing I'm in love with. I am in love with language. I am in love with its virtually magic power to structure consciousness, shape decisions, drive behavior. I've seen it turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones, and pain into passion, change lives. It is the very foundation of how we move through the world. And so that is what I'm here to talk about today. Spread some mind-blowing knowledge, be totally contrary to what everyone else says, because if you're doing what everyone else does, your audience, if you're doing what everyone else does, then it becomes a race to get to the customer first, because you're just doing what everyone else is doing. And
yeah,
so,
and you're not very memorable. You're just like you're another one of the guys out there. You're kind of a commodity, where I think people they don't want to buy a commodity. They want to buy something unique and different. So what's the foundation of your approach?
Or what happens is, and I only work with people who are doing at least $1 million. I just, God bless anyone who's not, I don't have time to do it. But here's the thing. If you are doing the same thing that's been working for you, and all you're doing is trying to do it more, you'll just move the needle a little bit. You're not going to see exponential growth, maximum money in minimum time without doing something radically different. So you need someone batshit crazy like me to come along and go, no, let's turn everything upside down and do what people are telling you not to do.
Wow. So what are some of those examples of things that people say to do, and you're saying, no, wait, maybe we should do something a little different?
Well, let me just talk about something. So we've all heard that you need to have your prospects know, like, and trust you, correct?
Well, usually I hear people say they like newbie salespeople, especially, or people that aren't well trained, and say they need to like and trust you. We kind of introduce them to the knowing part, like they got to know you too. But it sounds like you got something a little different there.
Well, let's take that apart. What's even better than the trust part of know, like, and trust you is to get your prospects to trust themselves, because nowadays your prospects no longer trust their own ability to make a good decision. I'm going to show you why. I'm assuming this is going out as video.
Yeah, it's going out as video.
Here's the one reason why your prospects don't trust themselves anymore. I'm not saying you shouldn't get them to trust you, although there's something even better than trust. We'll get there. But you need to get them to focus and to trust themselves. Here's why they can't. It's the smartphone. Because of this smartphone, people are constantly scrolling. They don't have the attention span that they used to. So you don't have the time to build rapport that you used to do, because people just can't pay attention the way they used to. Now, listen.
I have one question about that. Would you say there's a part of that also, that there's so many options out there now?
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
I was about to say that. There's so many options that a confused mind doesn't, well, there's a time to confuse your prospects artfully, but a mind with too many options has no reason to choose one over the other. So again, it becomes a foot race to get there first. So you need to have some ways to get your prospects to focus and to trust themselves, and you need to do it quickly. And I have some words that I'll teach today on the show. I'll give away some secret sauce that you can use to get your prospects to trust themselves immediately. That's the first thing you need to know. But let me just do one more thing, and then we'll get to it.
Yeah.
The other thing you need to understand, this is a radically different way of understanding sales. You are not selling your services as a contractor. You're not selling a product. Listen to me. You're always selling decisions and good feelings about decisions. And those are not made from the conscious mind. They're made from the subconscious mind.
So what do you mean by that?
Okay. People don't make decisions, really make decisions based on logic, facts, numbers, data. Those are important. But we know they make the decisions emotionally, and they make them based on beliefs. Everyone will teach you that your prospects make decisions on emotions. That's true. But they make them on beliefs. What do they believe is possible in the world? What do they believe is possible for them? What do they deserve? Never underestimate your prospects' inability to buy from you because they don't think they really deserve it. Do you understand? They don't think they deserve to have that nicer home. They don't think they deserve to have whatever it is you're being hired to contract to do for them.
So how do we flip their head from not deserving it to deserving it?
We will build on that. Let me get to that
great.
a little bit later in the show. But these are some of the points that we really need to hammer home. These are the bedrock foundation understandings I teach in my new book on Amazon, which you can get for $7, and you can read it in one sitting. In 1 hour. I designed it for that.
So we're gonna put a link to that book in the show notes and everything, so everybody can get to it. I want to hear more. Tell me more.
Well, so one of the things I would do is I also want to go beyond trust. I want to get trust, but what's better than trust? This is going to be really controversial. Compliance. Getting your prospects to comply with you and view themselves as your follower, not just their client or your client or your customer, but as your follower. So what's the typical presentation? Typical presentation pattern is, well, before I show you, let's say you've done your qualifying questions and you've done all that good stuff. And you say, before I show you this proposal, I just want to please ask questions that come up. And so you can know that this is something that you may want to move forward on today. Something along that. I don't know the exact pattern that you teach, but something similar. I would never do that. I would say the following words. Before we explore our plan together today. So before what does we imply? It implies a relationship. These are called implied relationship words. Before we begin not my presentation, before we begin which implies a relationship, exploration. Exploration or explore is an incredibly powerful word. Listen, for every exploration, there must be a leader. And for every leader, there must be a
follower.
Exactly. So
that's really good.
Through the power of suggestion and through the power of implication, in their subconscious mind, they are stepping into the role because people always want to find a frame or a role to operate from. It's very uncomfortable to not know what relationship you're in power-wise with somebody else. So immediately on the unconscious level, they're viewing you as a follower. Now, does a follower question the authority of the leader? No. Does the follower fail to fall in line with the leader's ideas? No, the follower is going to follow. Before we begin our exploration together, again, together is an implied relationship word. We're stacking these suggestions. Now, I'm a hypnotist. In hypnosis, there's a law called the law of compound suggestion. And that simply says each suggestion multiplies the power of the previous one. So rather than doing one suggestion, we're stacking them together really closely in time. Before we begin our exploration together today, I just want to, watch this word, invite you, not ask you, invite you. Do we extend an invitation to someone who we don't have a relationship with or are not about to begin one? No. I just want to invite you to please share the questions, not ask the questions. What's the difference between asking and sharing?
With sharing, I share with somebody that I have a relationship with.
Exactly. Share the questions that naturally arise when, listen to this bit, a great decision is being made. And I just nod my head a little bit.
I love it. I love it.
Now notice, did I say a great decision to sign the contract is being made?
No.
It's too specific. When you are vague, here's the principle. Whatever you can get your prospect to imagine for themselves will be perceived by them as being their own idea, and therefore they will not resist it. And one of the best ways to do that is to be vague. When you're vague, they will fill in the blank. So it seems as if you're describing exactly what they're looking for, when in reality, you're not saying anything. You're leaving it up to them. I'm not saying a great decision to sign the contract. Am I saying how the decision is going to be made? No. Why it's going to be made? No. When it's going to be made? No. I said today, but that could be any time today. And then I do this. I give the slight little head nod. And if I see this back, I know I've got him.
You got a follower. You got a relationship going.
Right away in the space of, so I've skipped rapport into the realm of them wanting to obey me.
So do you think body language is a big part of the sales process? Like knowing?
I do. And I'm not an expert in body language. There's certain things I know I've been trained to look for by one of my mentors and teachers. His name is Chase Hughes. Chase is the expert, the go-to expert for this, but you'll probably not get a hold of him. Chase is busy with his own stuff. But anyway, you can get his stuff. But what I've learned, I've been trained to look for is blink rate. I don't want to get too much into it, but if the blink rate increases, it means they're anxious or having an ab reaction. And also if they do this and unconsciously do this, they're protecting these arteries here, or if they do eye cover, that sort of thing. But listen, I don't want to get into body language.
No, that's okay. Well, let's talk linguistics. We'll get him on at some point.
Linguistics. Yeah.
So the whole thing is we're selling decisions and good feelings. Can you get into that a little bit deeper, what you mean by that?
Sure. So look, your prospect ultimately is not buying the contracting. They're buying what the contracting is going to bring them. They're buying, it's like saying the old saying, don't sell the airplane, sell the vacation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you've got to get them to imagine in their mind already having made the decision and feeling good about it. But you can't do that directly. You have to use vague language. Now, I'm about to unleash a torrent of vague language. It's going to sound like a lot of gobbledygook, but this is what I teach my clients over like a 90-day process. So I'll take on a client, they have to apply to work with me. I have to see that I can really help them, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to play with you, okay? I'm just going to play with you. All right. So I'll say something like, before we proceed with our interview today, I can't be the one to say all the places you might stop and feel a sense of growing focus the more you listen. But as that takes place, I just want to say, I don't know all the ways you can imagine a time in the future already enjoying what it is I'm presenting, looking back on this moment as having been the start of it. But I know that sure will feel great, won't it? So as you're thinking about it that way, let's proceed forward with this marketing presentation. Here we go. Now, did I say anything specific there?
No, not really. I just kind of ended up feeling like there was warm and fuzzies.
Right. Did you get a sense that I was matching your experience somehow? That I was saying things that made sense?
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was gobbledygook, but it really was more emotional than anything else.
Exactly. And I also gave you commands and suggestions to focus in on me, to imagine a time in the future when you already had made the decision to go with what I was going to present and feeling good about it. So there's a lot of hypnotic phenomena. And please, I encourage the audience to just take a breath, relax, and remember a time when you stepped into a new adventure with a sense of excitement that something wonderful was about to happen, even though you didn't know what it was. And as you continue to feel that way, as we're having this dialogue together, I feel good knowing that we're stepping into something you can see yourself using. So again, I'm just using vague language. I'm not being specific. If I said, I think as I unveil in about 10 minutes, the ability to destroy objections, you're going to like it because you'll immediately see that it'll apply to the situation you'll be in about 10 days from now with client X. It's too specific. I'm being vague. And when you're vague, remember that rule? Whatever you can get the prospect to imagine for themselves will be perceived by them as being their own idea. One of the ways to do that is to be vague with your language. Now, there's a time to be specific. When you present the actual numbers in the contract, the length of time it will take, the estimate, the elements of what's included, then be specific. But there's a time in the beginning where you don't want to be specific, where you want to make the message unclear, maybe even be a little bit confusing. This is totally contrary to what everyone else teaches. But again, if you do what your competition is doing, your prospect, I'll put it this way, a tactic identified as a tactic disarmed. If you're doing what your competition is doing, there's no reason for them to pick you because they've heard it before. And it's just a matter of who can get your competition, who can get your prospect first. So
I think most people know when they're being sold nowadays. There's been enough information out there. They know the tactics. They've seen the tactics. They know when somebody's building rapport. They know when somebody's solving their problem. They know, like, those type of things are going on out there, and there's enough information about it. We've been around long enough.
That's why
kind of just get to the point.
Skip rapport if you can and get straight to compliance and then viewing you as their follower. Now, some people may think, is this manipulative? I think, hell yeah, it is. And it works.
I was going to say, isn't it
wrong? Listen to me. There's nothing wrong with being manipulative in the service of your client. By manipulative, I don't mean the following. I don't mean lying about facts, concealing material facts, pushing down on pain points. I don't mean that. I don't mean coercion or any of that stuff. I simply mean to move the other person's subconscious or unconscious mind with deliberateness through the use of your language. Can I give you, I'm being very wordy here.
Well, I feel like that's almost a responsibility if you truly believe that what you have to provide to them is your responsibility to get to them, so they're not with somebody else that would do them a disservice.
And I'll, if I can even build on that response. You see, for me, sales, as I teach it, is not just about suggesting your ideas into your prospect's mind. Check out the real batshit crazy idea. It's about expanding their minds to include your ideas and new possibilities. May I give you a metaphor?
Sure.
Let's say your prospect has bought this very expensive vacation in Hawaii, and they're in the top of the line hotel room with a wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling bay window that looks out in the beautiful, crystal clear, pure ocean. But rather than looking at that, they're turned around and their eye is glued into that little keyhole camera, and they're looking out in the hallway because they're afraid someone's going to come to get them. We take them, we turn them around, and we show them that possibility of everything that's right in front of them. And so for sales, the idea of a salesperson being someone who expands the mind of their prospect to see possibilities they couldn't see before, that's, again, batshit crazy, but it's a new way of looking at it. It makes you feel good. Because hear me out. When you expand your prospect's view of what they can have in their world, that doesn't just stay with what you're selling. It also generalizes out into every context of their life. It's actually something that's heroic and healing. The idea that you can, crazy as it may sound, the idea that you can do something healing for your prospect and even heroic by changing their sense of what's possible for them, expanding their mind to include new possibilities for what they can have, what they deserve. That's a heroic thing. You can walk away not just with the sale, but feeling good that you've genuinely changed a life.
There's a lot of gurus out there, I'll put that in air quotes, that say giving too many options or creating too many things to think about is a bad idea.
Yes.
It sounds like you're telling me that, like, hey, we want to expand your mind. Like, hey, all things are possible.
Expand their mind, and then through that expanded mind, put what your service is. I'll give you another metaphor. Let me give you a metaphor. So I have a sheet of gold foil and a sheet of cardboard, and I want to conduct a current of electricity. This is not a trick question. Which one of those is going to conduct the electricity, the cardboard or the gold foil? No, foil. Exactly. Consider your prospect's state of mind to be the conductive medium, and your patter, your pitch, whatever it is your words, to be the electricity. Do you want your prospect in the cardboard state of not trusting themselves, not believing they deserve the best, not trusting their own decisions, being bored, unable to focus? Or do you want them in the gold foil states of focus, of viewing themselves as your follower, of believing they can make a good decision, of believing they deserve what you have to offer? Which one do you want them in? And if you don't set it up through your language, they will default into that cardboard state.
So it sounds like, if I'm following well, I want them to trust their own decisions. Okay. I want them to deserve what it is that they want, right?
Yeah.
I want them to be compliant a bit and follow me.
Focused on you too. Totally focused on you.
And totally focused on me. And then this idea of, hey, see what's in front of you, not have your guard up. Is that a fair assessment?
See what's in front of you through the lens of believing it's possible for you and it's worth it and that you deserve it. One of my mentors used to say, broke people ask, can I afford it? Rich people say, am I worth it? And so get them to answer that question unconsciously, before you've even presented the actual facts, data, figures of your pitch.
So you're doing all this before you ever present the thing.
Yep.
So I'm going to give an example, and this may or may not work. I don't know, but I'm a roofing salesman. Let's use that example.
Okay.
I'm going to, show shingles and various different options of that. And I'm going to talk about their benefits and all that other good stuff. I'm going to tell about our system and how awesome it is and the way that we put things together and the various options there. And then I'm going to give a price. But before I get to any of that, I'm doing what exactly?
Well, of course, you always have to ask your qualifying questions, seek out their needs, et cetera, et cetera. So don't assume that people think that you deserve to hear that. Instead, I want to give a little something that puts them in the state where they feel eager to share. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say something like, so before we share our conversation together today about just what it is you're looking for, I want to encourage you to please share the questions that naturally arise when a great decision is being made. And I would actually tap on the contract or point to the contract, because now it's anchoring all of those thoughts, all those feelings to the contract. You get it? It's a sneaky little thing we call anchoring in NLP. Then and only then would I begin to do the process of asking the qualifying questions, ferreting out their needs. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. And these qualifying questions vary. Are you looking for a shingle that lasts longer? Are you looking for something that's more affordable?
I wouldn't even say it that way. If I could.
Go ahead.
When you stop and you naturally imagine just what it is shingles will bring for you. I'm not sure whether it's X or Y or Z, but if you would share that with me, it would really help me to show you just exactly what it is you're looking for this.
That's good. That's really good. I like that. That one's going to go in the hip pocket. I like that.
I know. Remember, this is like learning a new language. Now, with the right guidance, you can pick it up. My whole thing is I don't work with clients for more than 90 days. And I say, if I can't improve your sales by 30% in 90 days, I'll give you your ROI back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I can already tell you can. That part doesn't surprise me in the least. I don't think enough people.
I can't always. And here's why I can't. If you're someone who wants to stick to what's working for you and you're unwilling to step into something that's radically different, and if you're not coachable, and if you don't have a sort of mindset that says, hell yeah, I want to beat my competition, I want to crush my personal best, God bless you. You can't pay me enough, because it's not fun to work with people like that.
Yeah, I'm going to ferret that out before we ever engage.
I'm in a place in my career where I can gracefully and kindly say, no, thank you, we're not a good fit. Maybe I can refer you to someone who's a better fit.
I don't think enough people understand or give the value to how important language is. The words that you use, the tone in which you use them, the amount of space you leave between words, and how you want to. Those things people have not put enough effort, I don't believe, into learning. What would be your?
I give exercises to do. One of the things I give exercises to do is to get the pacing and the cadence correct. So as you continue to listen, I'm not sure just exactly what. That smile allows you to recognize a much deeper and more suggestible part, even as you're thinking, what is he doing, is beginning to take hold, isn't it? And that feels really good.
Hey, I have noticed that hypnotists talk like that. They have that cadence to what they do.
Now, you don't have to lean on it. I'm leaning on it so your audience can recognize it.
Right.
It's very subtle. My first book, I have it around here somewhere. It's called Subtle Words That Sell. But subtle is significant. Subtle is powerful. The unconscious or subconscious mind means the same thing. Picks up on subtle cues.
So what's happening in the subconscious mind as a client is going through the sales process? What's happening there that we may not realize as salespeople?
Subconscious mind is sorting through, this is important to me, this is not important to me. I can imagine myself already having had this. I can imagine this matching what it is I value, what it is I believe I deserve, what it is it's going to allow me to avoid, what I can say about myself once I have it. Look, I'll tell you something. People buy transformation and status too. They're not necessarily buying the shingles. They're buying the status that might bring them with their neighbors. The status will bring them with their wife. Don't ever underestimate people's desire to look good, not just to be attractive, but to have status over other people. You're selling.
We use that a lot. Whether you're selling a bathroom or you're selling a roofing system or you're selling a fence or whatever it is that you're selling, like, can you imagine when your neighbors come over, what it's going to feel like when you see the look on their face? Like that type of thing. And I'm sure you're going to reword that somehow or another.
You want it even better than that?
Yeah, I would love it. That's why I said it. I want to hear the better version.
Say, you know, as we're sitting here talking, I don't know all the ways. You can easily imagine just what your neighbors will think when they come over and see how beautiful this is. Did you hear what I said? I don't know all the ways. When I say all the ways, what does that imply?
Implies there's more than we can imagine.
That's right. And they'll begin to picture multiple ways in their head. I don't know all the ways your neighbor.
That's really good. I like that.
And your prospect now is not just seeing one way. In his own imagination, he or she is stacking multiple ways, which makes them even more compelled to make the buying decision. It's not that the old stuff doesn't work. It's I'm coming along and saying, look, you can junk a lot of it, but if you're going to use stuff that's already working for you, great. I'm just coming along to strap rocket boosters on. And by the way, I'm just going to invite you to do one thing. If you don't believe I can get crazy results, go. This was not for a contractor, but it was for someone who ran a sales coaching business. Same principles, though. I increased his conversions by 646% in 90 days. That's insane. But if you go to paulrossresults.com, put the link in. I'm asking, please, as a favor to you and your audience, and you'll see 646% increase in 90 days. That is not typical. That's extraordinary and extreme. But even 30% in 90 days, if you're making
this guy sold sales coaching.
Yeah, he sells. So
you coached a sales coach.
I coached his whole team.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, man, I have a feeling Paul Ross could actually help us. We think we're pretty good at stuff. But I'm sitting here learning a few things as we talk, for sure.
I'm happy to set up an appointment. We can calendar it.
I'm getting sold while we're here.
You know what? I'm just sharing what I know.
I understand.
I'm sharing what I know, and I don't know just exactly where inside your mind you might powerfully and easily See yourself 90 days in the future with that pile of money, looking back and thinking, wow, today was the beginning of me working with Paul and building this bridge to my river of revenue.
Yeah, this show's a good show. This is one of those ones where I'm going, this is a solid. So
can I tackle one of my most favorite things, please?
I would love to. I've got a million things I got to ask you.
I love crushing objections. Crushing objections.
So I was just about to ask you about that, this counterexamples thing.
Well, I got this learning pickup, teaching guys to pick up women, and learning as I was mastering this to counter the boyfriend objection. So what you want to do is break rapport, and you want to switch the frame. So I'll give you an example. I used to hear all the time when I was not such an attractive silver fox as I am now. I'm trying to do a hair flip, but my hair doesn't move. I would hear.
I'm worse than you.
I would hear the following: I have a boyfriend. Now, most guys would either try to argue, well, I'm better than he is, or they would plead for the number anyway, or they would go away. So here's a lesson I want to give you, all of your audience, whether it's personal relationships or business. People act, think, feel, behave, respond in fixed patterns. When you interrupt those patterns, they become suggestible, and you create a window of suggestion through which you can lead them. So when they would say, I have a boyfriend, my response is, now, Debbie, you don't need to convince me someone else finds you attractive. That's not how I'll make up my mind about you.
That's really good.
You see the shocker? And then I've laughed it off. And then I just go back. And I don't mean to offend you ladies. This is just illustrating principle that's made my clients zillions of dollars. I'll give you another one. What's one of the most common objections? I'm giving gold. I don't.
Well, I sit there and go, I kind of relate that one to, hey, I'm going to be talking to another contractor, right?
And my answer would be, hey, I understand. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever had the experience that the more options you were given, the more confused you became and the harder it became to make a great decision? Maybe it's not about more. Maybe it's about recognizing you've already found the best. So thinking about it like that, let's get out on the table what you really need to recognize. Yes, this is what's true right now. Do you hear that? That's a counterexample, and it's true. It's absolutely true. The more options placed in front of you, the harder it becomes to make a decision. True or false?
True. Well, there's no doubt about that.
Yes, but here's the other big one. I need more time to think it over.
That's the one that stumps most salespeople, I would say.
Okay. Just to show the value of what I have to offer, I'm going to give this out for free. Now, what are the typical responses? To say, really? Well, what is it that's really getting in your way today of making a decision right now? Not bad. I get it. Or I understand. I don't like feeling pressured either. What is it that is stopping you from making a decision now? Not bad, but the problem is you're focusing them on the problem rather than on the solution. So I shock my clients. I break rapport. Here's where you need to break rapport. Shock them. So role play. Just tell me I need more time to think it over.
Hey, Paul, I really appreciate your time today, but this is one of those things that we got to think about a little bit.
I understand. Can I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
Have you ever taken a long time to think something over and it still turned out to be a horrible decision?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about time, but about the clarity you need to recognize it's safe to move forward today. So thinking about it like that, what is it we need to get out on the table for you to recognize, yes, a great decision can be made today? Now, what are we doing? You can't even remember the time exception. It's never about time. It's always about not seeing the price to value ratio. Or
it's the money. It's the money.
It's not even about the money. You could even say, tie them down, say, really, other than money, is there anything else that would prevent you from moving forward today? No.
We teach that one. That is one that we do teach.
I am down. But the other thing you could say, I've used this one too. I've said, Hey, I understand. Can I ask you a question? How's that going to change if you don't step up and invest yourself? You know, one of the wisest, richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, once said, once you see the vision, you can always find the money. So why don't we think like one of the richest men ever and help you find the vision of what it is you want to move forward with today? You see how we've gone to authority quoting Warren Buffett? I don't know if he ever fucking said that or not. Get it?
I would want to be like, I want to know my quotes, but that's the only difference I would have in that.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like I do believe using quotes from authority that somebody believes to be smarter than them helps them make a decision.
You know, the ridiculous extreme of this is people quote Einstein on things he never even thought about much of it. Well, Einstein said that the definition of dirty is never washing your hands with my new quantum soap that you can get.
I've seen a lot from Einstein, Churchill, like those kind of, and
besides,
yeah.
Einstein talking about physics, you listen, Einstein's opinions about politics or fashion has no more validity than anyone else's.
Agreed, 100%. So if you were going to give somebody new in sales the most valuable piece of advice you could give them, what would you tell them to do?
Don't be confident.
Okay, that was backwards. Like that's what everybody teaches. You got to come out with confidence first.
Bullshit. Let me tell you. See, I like to shock people. There's different kinds of confidence.
Yeah, you shocked me right there because that's one like. Man,
well,
fake it till you make it, right?
Let's take this apart. I learned this from teaching guys who were 30 and 40-year-old virgins who everyone was telling them, just be confident. Women love confidence. Well, there's a couple kinds of confidence. There's performance confidence. That's when you've done something right successfully 1,000 times. So you have a reasonable expectation in 1,001 you'll do well. Well, that leads to a trap. The new salesperson can't be confident until they've done multiple repetitions, but they're not willing to do those repetitions until they're confident they're going to be good at them. So this leads in a circle of chasing your brain and doing affirmations, but never taking action. It's bullshit. The second kind of confidence is what I like. It's called learning confidence. Learning confidence just says, you know, even if I don't get the result, I'm interested in the sale, but I'm invested in my skills. I'm interested in the sale, but I'm joyfully devoted and invested in my skills. That's a much different perspective. In a breakfast of bacon and eggs, the chicken is interested, the pig is invested. So it's a learning. How can you joyfully learn the skills and have an intelligent enthusiasm and an informed motivation? Listen to what I'm saying. I didn't say just be rah, 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 rah. That doesn't last. Or build a peak state. The problem with the peak state is it'll burn out. It's not sustainable. And if you're in a peak state and your prospect is neutral, they're going to think you're a crazed freak. So build learning confidence. Now, you've heard the phrase, learn from every experience. How many times have you heard that one?
A million.
Have you ever had anyone give you an exact procedure to do that?
No, but I'd like to hear one. Okay.
This is one of the differences between the people I train and the people who don't train with me. I give them a specific process to rapidly learn their lesson very quickly, and then to rehearse it in their mind so they do the right behavior the next time. Now, that's both too intricate to go into here, and that's one of my big pieces of secret sauce. No one else teaches this. This is one of the things that makes my trainings unique. That secret sauce is both too intricate and it's proprietary. So that one I both cannot.
No, that's fair. That's good. Like, you got to leave something in the war chest, right?
But the difference is if your sales team is coming in, there's one more kind of confidence, and that's what I call modeling confidence, where you look at someone who's very good and you extract out the nature of their talent. So one of the things I've done, what I did with this guy who got the 646% increase in his closings, I not only improved the performance of his top people, but I took the other 3 or 4 people and I made them really close to as good as the top 2 using a skill called modeling. It's at the heart of neurolinguistic programming. So there's modeling confidence, where you look at what someone who's at the top of what your field is doing, you extract out their beliefs, what they do with their voice tone, their attitudes, how they move in motion. I'll give you an example. I'm just giving away the gold, but I don't care.
No, I would say I've actually done this before. There are people that I have some respect for, that I would like to be more like. And so I model some of their approaches. I'm not them and I'm still me, but there are some things that they do well that I wish I was better at.
Right. So my claim is I can do that with a whole team of people. But listen, here, oh, the thought flew out of my mind because I'm sharing so much. I think I drank.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
So this idea of objection seems to be something that holds salespeople back, almost a fear. How do you handle that with sales teams?
For me, I teach them it's time. Every objection is either information you can use or a toy for you to play with. Objections are just cries for help to make a better decision. Objections are just cries for help to make a better decision. One more time. Objections are just cries for help to make a better decision. I know what I wanted to say. The power of language, cold calling. Do people in your field have to cold call?
Yes, they do it 2 different ways. One is telemarketing, like, hey, calling people at their house. The other is actual door knocking on their door.
Brutal, but I'll show you how to get past that.
I love this. This might be the gold we've been waiting for.
Hey, I've been giving you gold.
No, this is like the gold. Like there's gold and then there's the gold.
Reframe what you're doing. See, the language and particularly metaphor is very, very powerful. Metaphor is like a canopy, and every belief comes underneath that canopy. I teach my clients, you're never cold calling ever. You'll never make a cold call again. You're extending opportunities. So instead of saying, oh, I've got to make these cold calls, you think, how many opportunities can I extend today? How many opportunities can I extend today? You're not doing cold calling, you're doing opportunity extending. Now, if you're extending opportunities, are you taking something from someone or are you giving a gift?
Are you giving a gift?
Now, how can you feel nervous or bad or creepy about giving a gift? The worst that can happen is someone doesn't want the gift, they give it back.
I can remember the day this happened to me. Whenever I first got into this roofing game, part of the game was knocking doors to create opportunities, right? And my thought in my head was, I'm a door-to-door sales guy. I hate this. This wasn't what I wanted. I had been laid off. I had a job to make some money. And after about 4 or 5 days of it, having another door slammed in my face, I can remember walking out to the curb and sitting down the curb and going, what in the world? Why am I doing this? I hate this. Why is that guy so pissed? All these things going through my head. And then for whatever reason, I had an epiphany that I was looking at every single one of those doors as something somebody could give me. I literally superimposed like $1,000 bill on every single door as my encouragement to knock that door.
Never works.
And I reframed my mind into this, hey, wait a minute. I'm out here protecting these people from other nefarious contractors. I'm giving them a service, and I'm not just going to give it to them. I'm going to give it to everybody. So I reframed it from hey, I'm here to do inspections for, damage to your roof or whatever it was, what everybody else was saying to, hey, I'm out here doing a community service project. I'm going to be inspecting every house in this neighborhood to give them this free report, whether they choose us or not. It's no obligation. Would you like me to do yours today, or would you prefer for me to do it tomorrow? It became so much easier. It was just magic overnight. Like I felt like
the power of language to reframe your thinking. Language structures our thoughts structure our actions become our habits create what we see in our life.
And was that a good reversal there of
Beautiful.
how
Beautiful.
Hey, I did one okay today. Good.
You did one with excellence.
Perfect time, because I would like to talk with you more, not only about what we do, but maybe how we could help our clients do better, and partaking of your services to do that. We are here to serve our industry.
After the show, let's have a brief chat in your green room and we'll set something up. But can I just say one thing?
Sure.
This is not me joking around. I love teaching. I love teaching because I see its power to shape people's lives and to change lives. I was born to teach. My father was a teacher. My mother taught me in metaphor how to think differently. If I think differently, it's because my mother gave me the radical permission to do it. So if you want to find out more about what I do, just grab my book on Amazon. It's The Subconscious Sales Advantage. There is the opportunity to apply to work with me there. You'll see it in the back of the book. I am selective. I do that not out of arrogance, because I want to make sure I can provide maximum value to clientele, and also to see what's most lucrative for me. And I do only work with people who are doing at least $1 million a year.
All of that, it's like I sit there now, I'm listening to it differently. I'm listening today. And I thank you. I strongly encourage. This is one of those things. I got some coaching along these lines a long time ago. Spent a lot of time reading about it, nowhere near where you're at, and I want to learn more from you. But it's one of those things I think people should invest in. I think people should take the time to get coaching in. It more than has its return on investment, not just in the business that you do, but in the life you lead and how you interact with other human beings. So I highly value neurolinguistics and just power of language. It's truly the most powerful tool or weapon, however you want to look at it, on the face of the planet. So go out there, go check out Paul's website. It's paulross.com, right?
Speakerpaulross.com.
Speakerpaulross.com. Okay, I'm going to write that down, make sure my guys get that correct.
If you want this, because I don't expect people to now believe what I say. It also helps, go to paulrossresults.com and see that testimonial. And as you watch it and think, wow, 646%. What if Paul only got me 10% of that and I got a 64% increase in my sales in 90 days? What would that number be?
Yeah. Hey, that's the thing in our industry is, folks are looking for ways to increase closing percentages, increase net revenue and net profit. These are the ways you do it, by learning the techniques, practicing them, becoming a pro at them. And it's pretty amazing what it can do to the bottom line of your business. So I strongly encourage it. I really do. Like, search out Paul, go learn from him. We are not one of those coaches that go, oh, just us, right? That's why I have other coaches on here and other trainers and other teachers, because when you have this scarcity mindset, you operate from a place of fear. I have an abundance mindset. The more I help people, the better it turns out for me. It tends to be like. So we will get all of your information on here. Paul, thank you for being on our show today. It's been an amazing show. You were right. This is in that top 5.
Told you.
It was great. It was really, really good. And I wanted you to come back. I want to have another conversation with you, maybe at some point in the future, if you're okay with that.
I'm happy to, and let's chat a little bit in the green room. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks, Paul. Hey, everybody. That was Paul Ross, and absolute fire. There was a lot of gold, and then the gold there at the end on some of those cold call approaches. I can't express enough how valuable the power of language has been for me in my lifetime. My mom has a massive influence on that. She reinforced with me on a daily basis vocabulary, the way I speak, the way I write, the tone I use, the accent that I use. I grew up here in Texas, and my mom was adamant about me not having an accent that she felt didn't make me sound intelligent. Now, for what it's worth, you have your own opinions on it, but it has served me well to be able to work in a variety of different locations, whether that be in the South, the North, East, the West, it doesn't matter. I'm able to be successful in any of those environments. So spend some time in learning the power of words, the magic that they can have, and the results that you might have. Go check out Paul and what he does. We're going to put all of his information in the show notes. If you want to find out more about what we do here at Contractor Coach Pro in helping you build those processes, learn the skills to be a great leader so that people want to follow you, help you accomplish your vision, execute those processes efficiently so that you can grow and scale your business, and ultimately achieve that prosperity or financial freedom that you were looking for in your business, check us out at contractorcoachpro.com. We're here to serve you. We're here to care for you. And ultimately, we're here to love on you. We want to see you be good humans, great contractors, and serve the consumer out there well. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Contractor Radio, and we'll see you on our next episode.